Let's talk about the new Harvest of Souls collection from Fantasy Cosmetica. I'm so excited to show you this palette. It is a larger palette and it is such a beautiful color story. Hands down, already my favorite color story when I open it. The cover is just absolutely mystifying. It is such a beautiful piece of art. You see these shades reflected in the color story. So let's take a look at the inside because this is so beautiful. I feel very inspired looking at this color story. This is definitely the kind of palette that I'm gonna open up just to look at how beautiful the color story is. I love the different tones in here, as well as the fact that you have some lighter mid-tone and deeper mattes as well. And then of course shimmers, which have a variety of texture as well as opacity. And then the other two products in this collection are candles. I'm so excited. I love Fantasy Cosmetica candles. If you watched any of my other videos, ever since they have launched candles, I have been telling you, if you're into candles, definitely worth checking out. Unfortunately, they're usually limited edition, so I think it's the same thing for these. So we have Lingering Souls and then Dark Secrets, and the notes are for Lingering Souls, spiced tangy apple and orange with a little smoky earthy nuance, and then Dark Secrets is cherry and blueberry accented with a little warm baked good scent. They smell so delicious. I cannot wait to burn them. I did receive the palette in PR, but I did purchase the candles at a discounted price because there was no way I was missing out on those. And I do have an affiliate code, which I'll put up on the screen in case you're interested in anything from this collection or anything else on their website. And thank you so much if you do use my code. So let's talk about the launch. This is launching October 15th at 9 a.m. PST. The Harvest of Souls palette is $55. The candle is $30 each or $58 for both, or you can get the entire collection with the palette and the two candles for $110 with free shipping to US customers. So as usual, I will be showing you detailed swatches of each of the shimmer shades, some comparison swatches, and then I will be creating two looks with a palette, and then I'll be giving you some initial thoughts at the end of the video. So let's get right into it. Here's Schemes, Eternal, and Ensnare. And while Schemes is definitely flakier, it does smooth out quite a bit once you kind of touch it, but it might be a little tricky picking up on a brush. And none of these feel squishy or anything like that. Schemes is a beautiful antique gold with maybe a little bit of green in it. Eternal is such an interesting shade. It almost has a little bit of a tealish base to it with a very periwinkle flash straight on. And then Ensnare is a bright pink with blue and pink sparkles throughout it straight on. And then the other three shimmer shades are Souls, Obsession, and Immortality, which these two shades right here, Obsession and Immortality, definitely have hollow throughout them, but it is very, very soft. And it's not overly noticeable, and it does seem like it's very evenly dispersed. And the Souls does feel squishy in the pan. It's quite emollient. Souls, very sheer, topper-like kind of shade. Obsession, a little bit more of a opaque, but not quite black-based kind of green shifting shade. And I did, for the comparisons, only feature holochromes for these shades since they do have the hollow in them. Souls is bright blue flashing with a little bit of a beige yellow base to it, and it shifts to purple. Obsession shifts all the way to purple, but it has a blue shift in between. Immortality is a very vibrant but more jeweled bright blue, kind of like a denim blue, and it shifts to purple and then almost like a magenta or like a very, very dark yellow all the way at a harsh angle. For the first look, I prime with the Pat McGrath eyeshadow primer. And I'm taking Patience, and I'm going to pop that on the inner crease. And then next to that, taking Poison. And these are quite pastel, so I'm just patting them on. I'm going back in with Patience a little bit in here, and going with Necromancer on the outer corner. And we're just going to smoke it out here. I'm going to bring it underneath the lower lash line as well. And then I'm going to go back in with this brush. I'm going to bring in a little bit of Knowledge just on the edge. And then blend that outwards. A little bit more. Picked up Obsession on my pinky, and that's gonna go on the center of my lid, going into my outer corner. And I'm gonna put it a little bit on an angle. And the shade is a little bit hollow, but it's not like overly noticeable. And then I'm gonna take Souls on this inner corner. And the shade is very sheer. And this is a What's Up Beauty R107 brush. Really great for this. I'm gonna blend it a little bit into this green here. Here's the first finished look. Moving on to the second look, I have so many ideas on the looks I can create with this color story. So I think I'm gonna do a more berry purple look on this eye, just so that for this video it's very different from the other eye. So I'm gonna take Sacrifice and I'm gonna put that on the outer corner. And just blend it underneath as well. Just a little bit out here. And I'm gonna pack on a little bit more. I'm gonna take a large fluffy brush with just some setting powder on it, go over the edge. And then taking Ancient, I'm gonna pop that on the lid here in the crease. And I'm gonna blend it a little bit into here as well. And then picking up Patience and just putting it on the edge of that shade. Picked up Ensnare, and that picked up really nicely, so I'm not gonna miss my brush or anything, but I'm probably gonna have a little bit of fallout. Oh, this shade is so sparkly. It's got lots of different sparkles throughout it. Super fun shade. And then I'm gonna pick up Eternal on the same brush, but on the tip of it. And I'm gonna pop that in here. Oh, that is such a pretty shade too. Here's a second finished look. Love the smell of the candles. I really love both of them. If I was to say which one I like a little bit more, I think it would be Dark Secrets. I think the cherry is the most prominent scent in this, but it's kind of like it's like a fancy cherry, like a more elevated kind of cherry. I think they've been doing such an amazing job with the scents because I have yet to smell one of the candles and not like the scent. They're all extremely pleasant, and overall they always smell very sophisticated and they're not overpowering, and they do not cause any headaches, at least for me personally. So highly recommend those. Let's talk about the eyeshadow palette. I did create this third look with the palette, which I did not film. I just wanted to play off camera with the palette. I use Necromancer as the eyeshadow wing, and then like in the crease, and then schemes all over the lid, and everything applied beautifully. They blend very easily on their own as well as together. As I mentioned in the detail swatches, there is one squishy shade and it is Souls. I'm definitely going to do the tissue method and just press a tissue down into it to try to soak up the extra binder, but I don't mind that it's just one shade. I would recommend using a tacky primer for sure with schemes, especially if you have hooded oily lids. I've enjoyed playing with this palette so much. I just want to keep reaching for this. As I mentioned, I love this color story. There's so many different looks I could create with it. I think there's a really nice balance between the shimmers, some of them being a little bit more opaque, some of them a little bit more topper-like, which those would be even more transformative, especially Souls. Eternal, I couldn't find anything similar to it. I looked and I swatched so many shades and I don't have anything quite like this shade, so it is a very unique shade and it's so beautiful and so dimensional and definitely a shade that I'm very drawn to. So let me know what you think of the palette, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.